So I started in the Morgan Franklin Fellowship Foundation when I was a freshman in high school. My mom came home, she presented it to me, and basically said, whether or not you're interested in it, you're gonna do it because it's a great program and you'll appreciate it later. But Mom, I had no interest in it at all.
Allison was dragged into this kicking and screaming by her mother. The idea of doing extra materials and having a quarterly report was, just very, very demanding.
I do not want to write reports. I don't care about the stock market. Why does it matter? I'm not even 16 years old yet. So since at first I wasn't really into it, it actually took a few years. It wasn't until my freshman year of college that I think it really clicked.
So when Allison headed off to Quinnipiac, she went back to her mom and said, "Do I still have to do this Morgan Franklin thing?" Her mom said, "Why don't you take a look at your portfolio and see how it's doing?"
It was my fourth year, that's when I got my biggest return. And it was like, wow, this program's actually great.
2017 was a very strong year for the stock market. And so she saw how much money she was going to be awarded at the end of the year. We sent Allison a check for over $3,000 last year.
The Morgan Franklin Fellowship Foundation is designed to let anybody become financially independent. We go from teaching financial literacy foundation and basics to actually hands-on investing. Anybody from any social economic background can participate. You don't have to have money or be from a family that has money to learn how to be financially independent.
So for me, once I got an understanding of financial independence, and for me that means having passive income to cover your operating expenses, which means then you do or do not need to go to work. You could choose not to work. And I sort of think that's everybody's goal. They're going to retire, going to do something, but in order to do that, you have to have the wherewithal to cover your costs.
I definitely feel like I'm pretty ahead of the game. I know at least enough where I feel comfortable that I could open my own portfolio. I actually do know a few adults who don't know as much as I do, which I think is kind of shocking. But at the same time, if someone's not exposed to a class, where do you learn that?
So in 2018, we hired our first executive director, Melissa Gould, and she developed our very first online educational program. And what that does is it teaches the foundations of financial literacy. It makes sure that people understand the concepts before they dive into the Morgan Legacy Investment Program.
Where I go to school, we don't really learn about any of the stuff that MFF has taught me. I'm not very educated on economic subjects, and I thought it'd be helpful for me because I'm going to college soon. I'm going to be living on my own eventually. I can't, use my mom for everything. It kind of makes me think that my school should probably teach me some of that stuff.
The public schools aren't teaching it, the colleges aren't teaching financial literacy, so there's a real gap. So everybody seems to have to learn it rough and tumble on your own. So we're teaching financial literacy, but we're also teaching the mechanics of actually making investments and learning and seeing how money makes money.
Not only are we teaching the foundation of financial literacy, but we're also teaching hands-on and giving people, once they graduate from the foundations of financial literacy, the opportunity for hands-on learning. They're actually getting money from the foundation where they're going to be able to invest that money into the stock market. Real money, real stock market. And then at the end of that year, then they'll be able to take their gains, put it into a Roth IRA.
So the Roth IRA has some appealing aspects, but you must have earned income in order to put money into a Roth IRA. So our program is designed so that when we send you that check, it's earned income for you because the money was earned that year.
In the case that someone was going through the same thing that I went through, where I was sort of forced into the program and really didn't understand why it would help me in the long run, I would tell them to persevere, push through it, suck it up, write the reports, because I promise that after a few years and a little bit more knowledge, it really helps and it makes sense as to why it is beneficial.
So my sense is other youngsters who start will have a similar experience. They will understand the mechanics of how financial literacy works, what are the rules of money. They will have had money to make investments. They'll see how money makes money.
We really want to inspire all people to be financially independent. We want to make sure that from the young kids to people who are young adults and seniors to really learn about financial literacy.
And they'll have more confidence about being able to make investment decisions on their own. And so I think that that's the goal.
I'm a worrier, so like I was just thinking like I'm not gonna be able to handle myself when I live on my own and stuff like that. But after taking MFF, I feel more prepared.
And that's why I think that MFF is so important, because if you don't have a mentor in life to tell you these things, what better than a class to teach you?
I think people need this. It's working, and I think it will be expansive.